show is brought to you by Even Keel Fish Shack.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome bay, with shafafa on the side.
Good afternoon and happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, streaming to you live on the SoFla Live networks on Facebook and YouTube, and simulcast daily on the Let's Eat South Florida Facebook group. What's the tally now? Have we hit the 93,000 mark? 92.9 there, Mike. Sounds like an FM radio station.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, 92.9 members, 92,900 members of Let's Eat South Florida. Mike Lubitz, how are you today? Are you exhausted from all this double duty solo work with Defo gone?
I am doing well, and no, it's a very different show without Defo, work-wise, load-wise, and just I'm sure from an entertainment standpoint. But I am there regardless. I am up regardless. The only thing would be different is if I got to sleep in. But once you wake up, I mean, to me, yeah, I'm up and I'm at them. So it's been going well from my end. Hopefully people are enjoying it, and I'm happy to be on another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. How are you, sir?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day, and I'm celebrating not my birthday, but my next of
Yes,
kin.
happy birthday to the offspring of the Mayo.
My one and only daughter. I always call her my favorite daughter. She's my only child, but Natalia Rose Mayo, born 17 years ago on this day. So
Wow.
she's 17 on the 17th of November. And yeah, hard to believe all the cliches. Time flies. I can't believe it's gone so quickly. Blah blah blah. But she is obviously grown into a. I'm very proud of her. A wonderful young woman, smart, intelligent, and funny, and a good eater too. So that's all good stuff. And so tonight, I guess I'll give a review tomorrow, but we are going to. I guess I feel like Defo now. I'm going to a not a pari-mutuel facility, but a gambling facility for her dinner. But it's not a gambling facility; it's a resort. It's one of the best
Okay.
complexes around, the Hard Rock. The whole Guitar Hotel complex, and there's a bunch of different restaurants. But one of the few that I have not eaten in yet, but I've heard good things, is the Bae Korean Grill. It's BAE, like I guess that's the slang. I don't know what Bae means in Korean. I know in slang here it's boyfriend or
Like boyfriend, girlfriend,
right?
yeah.
But it's one of these Korean places that upscale and has the grills in the center of the table, so you could kind of. And I think we mentioned this before. You don't like cooking your own food at
So
dinner.
it's like a name. It's like, I guess, a last name. It says
Okay. surname.
Is when I
Okay.
looked it up. So I guess
Yeah.
that's someone's name.
But it's very stylish place. I've walked through it a few times because the ownership I know.
Is it hot
and-
pot? Is it hot pot?
Well,
like
it's
the
not
hot
hot
style
pot.
thing?
It's again they place in the I don't know what the heat source, if it's charcoal or some sort of heating element in the middle with a grill top.
Okay.
Now, what I'm not clear on is whether they bring out the various meats where you either, I don't know if we grill it ourselves or whether they have staff that does the grilling for you, which would make the experience, I say,
That's
even better when you don't have to do any thinking or worrying about, am I burning it? Is it going to be raw? For some people, that's half the fun of doing the Korean
Sure,
grill.
my wife loves it, and her parents. We were talking about it the other day. They went to a place. They were just in Toronto, and they went to a place. They're like, "Oh my god, it's the best! You do it yourself." And Shirley starts laughing and looks at me, and because they know I like to try different stuff, so they thought I'd love it because it's like a buffet. I'm like, I like buffets. I don't like that. And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I don't want to cook for myself. I have to. It stresses me out to know to take the meat out the right time, to take out the dumpling. I just want to eat the food. Just give it to me the
Well,
way I ask.
I mean, for some people,
That's what
interactive
it is.
eating and doing that is part of the fun. And it's the same rule of thumb that applies if you're grilling and cooking at home on a barbecue, is that it's always better to undercook the meat, because if you cut into it and you see that it's a little rare or raw for you, you just throw it back on the grill and let it go for another minute, as opposed to don't ever let it overcook, because then it's gone forever. And in this case, the house won't replace it because they'll say,
Oh,
you cooked it yourself, your fault. you you broke it, you buy it. So no, but I'm intrigued because it's a very stylish looking place there at the Hard Rock. I've been to, all the other upscale places there, the Curro and the Council Oak and Abiaka, which is kind of an upscale small plates place that I've recommended because it's out overlooking the whole hotel complex and you can see the light show. But this place, Bay, is entrenched firmly at the base of the whole
oh my God.
guitar, and it kind of dark and clubby in there. They got a beautiful looking bar, and the so
You just
it's going to be a fun night because they do like these different combo platters, and it is they also have some separate a la carte items like lamb chops. So we're going to be cooking our own lamb chops because that's a favorite of ours.
Okay, so it's not like the thing where the conveyor belt goes around,
No,
or
no,
people bring
no.
you food like
No,
unlimited, whatever you
no,
want. Okay,
no, it's not like that. This is just you order and they'll bring you platters of uncooked meats and seafood. And then again, the unclear part is whether they're going to help us out with the grilling or whether we do it ourselves. There's a place in Miami that I tried to get into, which I've been to and I love, called Cote, Cote, not Greg
right.
Cody, but Cote,
I was gonna say I've
which
heard of
started in Manhattan. It's a Korean grill joint, but it's received a Michelin star in New
Ooh,
York. I'm
so good
not
luck.
sure if I think the one here in Miami also received a Michelin star. I'm not 100% on that. I'll do a quick fact check on that. But the nice part of that place is because they also have these combo meat things where the grill is in the middle of your table, but they do all the grilling for you. And the way they do it too, that their staff,
Oh,
it's
I don't know if you know, you're not Mr. Hip Hop. That's actually a place that Nas owns.
what, Coat?
The
Coat?
hip hop artist
Yeah,
Nas
is a partner
is
in
a
Coat.
partner in I saw him on a show that he did, the Trevor Noah Daily Show the other day, and
Okay.
me and my friends are huge Nas fans, and he was telling Trevor to try it. That's funny. I'm sorry you're cutting in, but it jogged my memory. I'm like, that's funny.
Yeah, no, no, that's cool. I mean, again, any kind of celebrity angle. Now, um, on a Hail Mary, I just checked Coat to see if they had any availability tonight, and they do not, because these Michelin star places in
It is
Miami
Michelin
now,
starred, by the way. Yeah.
they're like just fully booked for the whole month, and you got to look at, keep. It's like playing the lottery, and like I was even seeing the next couple of weeks, the only availability they had there was at 10:30 at night or at 5 in the afternoon, just like Carbone, that other hip spot in Miami Beach. But so we're gonna check out the Hard Rock one. I've heard from several people that it's excellent quality. So
I'm
and
sure. I'm
again, a
sure.
little bit pricey. Told my daughter she can invite friends, or one or two friends if she wanted, but no, she wanted this to just be
Oh,
a
that's nice.
family night. Yeah, it's just going to be the three of us, and it should be a fine old time. And so that's what's on the agenda for Natalia's birthday. A
Okay,
good
did she
eater.
decide it's birthday, right? You picked the place, fine. She
Yeah.
picked this place, like she knew of this place, and at 17 said, "I want to go to Bay at Hard Rock."
Well, what she did, she said, "Where do you want to go for dinner on Thursday?" It's a school night,
Yeah,
and we said, and her football team's in the playoffs, and they ended up now they have a Saturday game instead of a
yeah.
Friday night
She's a
game.
cheerleader.
Because if we knew that, we probably would have scheduled a Friday night dinner where we could have, had our friends come too. But be that as it may, I gave her some choices. I said,
Okay,
what are you in the mood for? What do you think?"
okay.
And she loves sushi, but we did our sushi feast last Sunday at Kaizen, which was great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I was like, "Hey, do you want to do this? You want to go to a steakhouse? You want to go to Bourbon Steak down in Miami? Like some different things." Or if she had her own idea, and she was like saying, "What about like Korean?" And then I floated this idea, and she went for it. It's convenient and it's nice, so
I
that's
think you
all
guys
good.
have done an amazing job. I'm not gonna lie, because because there's no way when we were growing up, you would have been disgusted at the place that we went for birthday, Chili's or Outback or like that's like we were not. And we've talked about this enough here that you got an idea of my family. Like my dad was adventurous, but my mother no. So like the family dinner, we go to Roadhouse, Texas Roadhouse. Like look, there's a lot of us now. It's not just three, so it is harder to go to a place like that with my sister, my lunatic nephews who I adore, but they're crazy. Like it's harder to go to those places. I get it, but even before they were here, we still were not going.
Right.
How about Korean? Like that was not like the 17-year-old Lubie was not like Mom. I'm thinking, like that's not how it was. Like we were I love.
You were
That's why I
happy with
really love what we
pizza.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it was like pizza. It was Italian or like American grill. Like
Well, one of the blessings and curses of being the daughter of a food critic who used to have a very lucrative expense account was that we could kind of fold in her birthday celebrations
exactly.
along with the review meals of the hot new
We can do a
expensive
video and
place.
we can post it on the Let's Eat if you want. I'm sure it'll still be covered under business expense. If you
Oh
forgot.
no, it's always a business expense. Anytime I eat, I just talked about it now, so we're good. We're good. We're covered. I'm always thinking, but no, it's funny because I was thinking back to all her different various birthdays. At one point, we did the bowling alley birthday. We did the gymnastics tumbling birthdays. We did the trampoline birthdays. These are all the young ones. But I got to give her credit because even when she was like, I think 7, she loved Christine Lee's at Gulfstream. But back when it was like on the 3rd floor overlooking the track,
Yep,
and
yep.
we met up with some cousins of mine that lived in Aventura, but we all had a big family feast, and she loved the lamb chops that they had at Christine Lee's, these big, thick, double cut. Even when she was 7 years old, she's like gnawing on the lamb chop bone, just like my mom. So that's where Natalia gets it from
I
my
love it.
mom.
That's great.
And but we've done things in the past. She's gone to I'm trying to just think back. We did the Christine Lee's. We've done a Tropical Acres for her birthday because she loves Tropical Acres. I can't remember where we went last year. We've done sushi for her. I think last year was sushi at Kaizen on her actual birthday. So the girl has expensive taste, and
Yes.
warning to all the young suitors out there, it's going to cost you. You better get a job now, all the young men. That's not going to cut it if you just take her to McDonald's or
Well,
Chili's.
good then. At least you'll have to have a certain standard of partner
Right.
for the way she likes
Now,
to eat.
the thing is, when she's on her own dime, like last week, and she was just going out with some friends and spending her own money, they did go to an Olive Garden, and
There you
they
go.
have gone to Chili's and Flanagan's and Quarter Deck after the football games when they go hang out and have a late night bite. So yeah, she's got that full, rich, varied palate that can go from low end, pedestrian, as Defo would say, all the way up to the highbrow stuff.
She's a true blue
and,
Mayo.
But basically, in keeping with you and Defo, she hates Skyline Chili and will
That's funny.
always make a face anytime I say, "How about Skyline?" She
No,
hates it. She thinks it's disgusting, and so we have very varied tastes there. But and so I'm, not that she'll ever listen or watch this, but she's a great eater. She has an adventurous palate, but she does shame me every time we go get a hot dog at Coney Island Joe's because
Oh, really?
she, like her mom, like these Ohio whatever, the people in the Midwest, they put the ketchup
Well,
on the
ketchup,
hot
well,
dogs,
ketchup.
and it just
I just got sick.
cringe.
I feel
But you
so
know what?
bad. Go.
You know what? I've gotten better through the years, probably because I have a daughter that puts ketchup on a hot
Is it
dog.
just ketchup, or does she at least put some spicy like deli? Is it just ketchup? Because that's the
Just
one that weirds
ketchup.
me out. You
Just
see that?
ketchup.
I add ketchup, and I've added less and less through the years because people make me feel guilty. But I've always at least put other stuff. When people put
I just think it's a
ketchup, I don't get it.
terrible combo. I mean, you've got a nice salty hot dog, And ketchup,
That's
I know, is like a little sweet, but it's like when you have that kind of salt, I want something that's a little bit of acidity, brininess, and that's where the mustard comes in.
mhm,
Sauerkraut again is get that tart,
yeah,
vinegary, which I think goes great with the salt of a hot dog, and
yeah,
even that kind of tomato saucy onions, that on the push carts, they have
yeah.
that onion mix
Good
that
push,
is
yeah, yeah.
kind of like tomato saucy, ketchupy a little bit, but at least the onions are sweet and our contrast with the, hot dog. The ketchup itself, I don't know, it just
Do you
repulses
apologize?
me.
Because the one time I went there, me I finally went there and I'm like, "Wow, this place is, like, straight up New York," and the dude is like he just feels like New York. I remember getting the hot dog and I'm like, "Oh, okay." No one was around. I'm like, "Gonna want ketchup." He's like, "Okay." I'm like, I'm sorry." He's like, "You don't have to apologize." I was like, "Oh, okay."
I
'Cause I felt really
No, I
guilty.
apologize every time I go to the Coney Island Joe's. That guy Elliot Garber is the guy who runs. His name is not Joe,
He's
but,
great.
he goes by Coney Island Joe,
He's
and, the first time we went there and she asked for ketchup, I rolled my eyes, and he just said, "Kids today," so that's it. But, no, but one thing that I have gotten better in retrospect, not just with my daughter, but with people in general, I've stopped being the food police. When we first started
Okay.
Let's Eat South Florida, there was a lot of skirmishes in the early days of, what you should and shouldn't be doing with your food. Pineapple on pizza would always just agitate people and trigger people. Ketchup on hot dogs, and people would start like shaming, doing the whole food police thing, like, "You can't do that, you shouldn't do that." And again, I have my definite thoughts, I have opinions, but I've learned that, you know what? What's the big deal? If somebody likes something that way, even if it's completely wrong and horrible, let them do it.
It was completely wrong and horrible. But you add that in.
Well, that's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, but I'm not gonna go online and say that to them anymore because we just focus
That's
on
nice.
ourselves,
Good
and
for
this is
you.
kind of what I always try to do in steering the herd of cats that is Let's Eat. Um, Instead of
Yeah.
saying what you're doing is horrible and wrong and you don't know what you're talking about, and you obviously are
Or
a
you like to.
total, Visigoth and Philistine and have the palate of a 2-year-old, that you focus on yourself and say, "Ketchup on a hot dog is not my personal favorite. I would rather have it with mustard and sauerkraut," and just, like, keep it focused on yourself, always make it about yourself, and that way you're not saying, "You're an idiot who has no taste," which is what I'm thinking, but, no.
Obviously. What I like is if you do focus it in that
Yeah, yes.
POV point of view, I'd rather hear that because I don't know if it's gonna stop me from eating in my way, but maybe I'll
Right,
learn
you
a new
think
way to
about
eat.
things,
Like, you've done
and
some
and
stuff I
and it's so
never
funny
think
because
about,
when I
like
first started, learning about writing, it was, and especially in journalism, the personal pronoun "I" was always to be, just
course.
avoided. That was the worst thing you could do is insert yourself, and you always try to assume that third person narrative and the voice of God, and that now what I've realized is that what's best and effective most, especially in the age of social media where people are at each other's throats, is really it is okay
Yep,
to
yep.
be just talking about I, me, in the context of that's how you can relate to other people best without upsetting them, without calling them names, is just focus on what you like and why you like it, explain it, and why you don't like something. And like I just elucidated my reasons against ketchup on hot dogs. Um, and
Just give a reason. I like that you were able to explain it instead of Devo was like,
well
"That's
yeah,
wrong. That's
people
gross," and
that's
he
what
just judged.
this is another thing I think. I always think about writing, even though I don't really write much, I do write a lot on I still
You
post it,
still
yeah.
right. You're up there posting,
There's
yeah.
these
You're posting
things,
all
and
this.
especially in food, when we're talking about food and food criticism and descriptions and reviews, there's, verbs and nouns are the best in terms of writing, just, but sometimes if you're going to use adjectives, there are what I call empty adjectives, and then there's useful descriptive adjectives. Like the empty adjective is say something is amazing or horrible because you don't really, it's just a blanket indictment, but you're not telling me
Yep.
why. But if you say that the
Yep.
turkey was dried out and seemed like, older than the Egyptian mummy, then that's descriptive. You could
That's
if
very
you
descriptive.
say that the turkey platter we had at Shenanigans yesterday with Pat Utter was moist, juicy,
Moist
and
and hot.
warm, that's a descriptive adjective that puts you there, as opposed to just saying, "That
Yeah.
turkey was great." Great is an empty adjective, and amazing. So, I always like to get people thinking, especially now that I am the headmaster or ringmaster of the group, get people thinking about their choices and how they write and, try to make them better in terms of, describing experiences, and again.
Well, it's more helpful too because, like, a lot of the time when people would just pan these places or hail these places, when you go, you're just assuming it's going to be great or bad, and you don't know what to look for. So it's throwing you off. At least if someone says, I liked it because I did not
Right.
like it
Explain.
because you now know what to look for. So either you can avoid it, or if you go for that, you'll know what you're looking for. So you don't just, because that's the thing, like when they're just like, it was the worst ever. It's like, why? Well, the napkins weren't folded properly. It's like, okay, so I would think that's not
Right.
the worst ever. I feel like a lot of worse things have happened at restaurants. Like you are panning a restaurant for something that probably was on you. Like that's it. It throws everything off, and I like these specific adjectives and adverbs because you're right. It actually helps a
Yes. So
lot.
again, I'm trying to make everybody better in terms of just the way that restaurants and kitchens and chefs are always striving to improve. I think the people on the other side, the people eating and consuming the food, and now that everyone's a critic because of things like Let's Eat, these Facebook groups, and of course Yelp, and all these other review sites, I think it behooves us as
Yeah.
consumers, food people, and and reviewers, amateur reviewers in a lot of cases, but just try to do better and be more descriptive, so that it's constructive criticism. That was something I always tried to do when I was the professional dining critic for the Sun Sentinel. Is always be constructive and just say, well, the turkey was dry. Say, maybe the chef should consider brining his turkeys, like we were talking about yesterday, because that absolutely helps
Yesterday.
with juiciness of turkeys and retaining moisture. So, all these things, little tricks of the trade. Um, hey,
Yeah.
one thing I forgot to mention is, I'm still kind of getting through all the leftovers of the week and things that I picked up. I finally got around to eating. Last night Tom T's crab red sauce, which you're supposed to put over pasta. And I mentioned the other day I just took a spoonful cold, but last night I actually properly heated up this crab pasta sauce and put it over a bed of linguine fini, cooked al dente.
Nice.
And man, was that good, Tom T? Thank you, thumbs up, because a little bit of it's like the red sauce, a little bit of sweetness to that sauce, which is probably the crab meat, because that crab meat. And I'm
Crab.
amazed. I don't know, Tom, how you bought it. If it's already just lump crab meat that you bought on its own, or if you actually steamed some crabs and picked out the meat. But whatever kind it was, I'm always a little leery when you're eating things like, crab, that you're going to get those little bits of shells or cartilage, because there's nothing worse than biting down on that, and it could, do something to your mouth. But this one, there was no shell, no cartilage at all. It was just all sweet meat. So by the end, I was just like chowing down, saying, "Man." So
I know he has a ridiculous crab source. His crab
yeah,
source is amazing.
that it was great, and just having I'm a pasta freak. I could eat pasta every day, and sometimes I do. So I just had that, a
Yeah.
nice bed of linguine with that reb, I guess he calls it his crab red sauce.
His bonus
Yeah,
surprise
he threw
crab
that
red
in my
sauce.
bag as a goodie, little, I guess what he calls it.
That was
What's that
nice.
Monday? The what's the word?
Laganape,
Yeah, lagniappe,
Laganapi.
lagniappe.
What is
Yeah,
it?
the lagniappe. They gave me a
Laganape.
little
Sorry, he's
lagniappe
writing
there,
me.
which is the red crab sauce. So thanks to you, Tom T. Anybody can go check him out up at. He'll be up at Nobo Brewing this weekend, his usual time and spots up there in Boynton Beach. So we love Tom. Hey, let's take a
Yeah.
break. We'll start off by. We'll talk a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit about before we go to break, our friends at the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival, because it is
Nice.
going on
That's
in
looking forward to.
January. It's coming up right before you know it. I can't believe we're only 7 days away from Thanksgiving, and before you know it, it's going to be all the holidays. We'll have Hanukkah and Christmas and New Year's, and then we'll be boom, January 2023, and that's when the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival will be uncorked. It's going to be a full week of food and wine celebration. It's going to be starting off with a bunch of these intimate dinners at some of the greatest restaurants around the greater Fort Lauderdale area, including Heritage, a great Italian place that Reno Sorbone is the owner operator, and Cook and the Cork, great couple that runs it up in Coral Springs, is going to be having an
Yeah,
intimate
that's great.
dinner along with the Catherine, our friends Timon and Marissa Ballou. Go check it out at vlfoodwine.com. Those are the intimate dinners. They're kind of smaller, so tickets are going to go fast for that. But there's plenty of good seats remaining, good tickets remaining for the big three, which I'm calling the big three is the bar fight cocktail competition on Wednesday, January 11th, the poolside barbecue battle on Friday, January 13th at the Hyatt Centric Hotel in Fort Lauderdale, and then the grand tasting at Las Olas Oceanside Park on January 14th, Saturday all day from noon on. Great events, all three. I'll be at all three doing judging. Lubie and Defo will be at some of the events, definitely the barbecue battle.
I'm down, man. That
And
sounds so fun.
it's fantastic. So go to vlfoodwine.com. That's VL, like Visit Lauderdale. Go click on the tickets button. And if you use the promo code Lunchbox for those big three events, you're going to get yourself an additional 15%. That's 15% discount off the already low ticket prices. And don't forget the bonus, the little lanyap at the festival is that Sunday. They call it Picnic in the Park at the same Las Olas Oceanside Park on Sunday, January 15th. It's a family day where they're going to have all kinds of demonstrations and food trucks and games for the kids. That is on January 15th. So go check it all out. Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival. Lunchbox approved. Use that promo code Lunchbox to get your discounted tickets.
This is Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. No Defo today, but he is on his way back to sunny South Florida. He'll be on with us tomorrow and on a Visit Lauderdale, talking about Visit Lauderdale Friday. I cannot wait for that and cannot wait for more of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox coming up next after these words.
Looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more? Go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. And we're back on the Lunchbox. It's Thursday, November 17th, 2022, T-minus 7 days and counting from Turkey Day, Thanksgiving 2022. That is, I guess, the biggest food day on the calendar in a given year. As much as people like to feast and have fun, Christmas time and New Year's. New Year's is about drinking, and Christmas is about gift giving. Thanksgiving is all about the eating. And I posed the question to the group this morning. About Thanksgiving sides because to me, turkey is turkey and hopefully it's brined and comes out moist. And again, thanks to Pat Utter, we had a good time at Shenanigans yesterday. And I didn't realize they do that turkey dinner special every Wednesday, not just around Thanksgiving time, but $13.99 for that big old plate of fresh roasted turkey with stuffing and kind of a smashed potatoes, red bliss potatoes, and some
Yeah, that was
and
great.
some broccoli, steamed broccoli for $13.99. That's a pretty good deal these days. You hear a lot of complaints about inflation, but they're still dishing out the value there at Shenanigans 2 locations. So thanks to Pat. But I posed the question of side dishes. It's all about the sides. Lubie, do you have personal? I asked people to kind of can't just make it one side because every table has usually about like 4 or 5, or some people go
I like
crazy.
5 or 6.
Michelle goes crazy and usually has about 7. But what are your top 3 sides, and then which one gets voted off the island first? What is the one that you could absolutely live without? So.
Sweet potato pie is a dessert, right? Like you
Sweet
don't consider
potato
sweet potato
pie is
pie
a
a side.
dessert. However, on my
My mom does
sweet potato
my
casserole
mom
is
does it
on my
like
table as a
this.
side dish, and it is
That's a
freaking
side.
good. It's
I
got the
agree.
marshmallows, but it's also got a little bit of
Yeah, yeah.
savory, and it's got the spice in there. And yeah, so sweet potato souffle uh, makes
Souffle.
it
Yes,
makes
yes,
the
yes.
cut on my top 3. But go ahead.
Okay, so my mom doesn't do this because she's messed with it over the years, and like I've told you, my mom really takes cooking seriously. So if she doesn't master it, she's sort of weird about it. But I love macaroni and
Wow.
cheese, and I like the creamy macaroni and cheese. I do love creamy. We don't get it at our Thanksgiving very often, but as a side dish, I'm a huge
Wow, that's
macaroni.
something
Love mac and
that's
cheese,
never
real
been
creamy.
on my Thanksgiving table. Well,
You
probably
don't
because
have
I'm
to.
not from the South, and I know mac and cheese is a real big
Yeah,
Southern thing, and I know Italian people like Tom T
they
loves
do
the
lasagna.
lasagna, and that to me, if it
Thank
made
you
it
for
to
this.
my Thanksgiving table, it would probably go right to the top of the charts because especially his with the crepes. But yeah, no, like so, but mac and cheese is great. My daughter loves mac and cheese. She subsisted on it for a
I love it.
while, so I can imagine that's a good side. All right, go on.
So it's not on our table, but if you're saying side dishes that go along with Thanksgiving, and I know people will do it. A lot of my friends from the islands and also that from the South, mac and cheese is a staple. So I say mac and cheese. I love real mashed potatoes, especially when you have the little bit of the skin in there. And I love my mom does green bean
Oh, you
casserole,
love it, huh?
and I love green bean casserole. I do. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I like she does it both with full green beans and the French style ones. I like it better with the French style green beans, but those are my 3 favorites. Stuffing's good, but to me, it's not. I like
Okay,
those
it's
3
funny
better.
because the consensus among the people who, and again, I don't do it in any kind of scientific or polling format. I just let
Yeah,
people go on and,
just watch the
just start writing and venting and commenting. But it seemed like the least favorite side dish, the one that was getting voted off the island most, was green bean casserole. So maybe your mom has the secret formula to make it
She kills it.
good.
She does a really good job.
Green bean casserole. It's one of those things that I like. Just to me, we always do either fresh French haricot verts, which is the fancy green beans, but just steamed with some, kind of like a garlic and truffle salt dressing, or Michelle does plain, sometimes steamed or grilled asparagus with fresh made hollandaise sauce.
There it
I love
is.
asparagus. And, and
I love that as well. Look, my mom does all those things.
Right.
You're telling me to
Oh,
pick
I
3.
know, I know.
So
And but as much as I love the asparagus, the what Michelle does is she makes this cauliflower casserole, and I don't know how she kind of like whips it up so it also is kind of almost like a frothy. I mean, there's discernible bits of cauliflower in there, but they're not big and hard and crunchy. They're kind of whipped and softer, and she kind of folds it in with some, I don't know if it's cheese or cream or something, but it's really melt in your mouth delicious. And it's something that, even though I'm not usually the biggest cauliflower fan, but that is absolutely delicious. So I love that one. And she does unbelievably rich, detailed, labor-intensive potatoes au gratin, where she's, slicing the potatoes with the
Oh, really?
mandolin and then layering on the creme fraiche. And she won't just settle for like sour cream or she actually has to find the creme fraiche, and she doesn't even whip her own. It's like a
What?
specialty ingredient,
I
and
love
she
I love
layers in
that.
the creme fraiche and then puts on all the layers of cheese, and she bakes it to a golden brown, and it has that layer of crunch. And oh, I'm in heaven, but my arteries are screaming, saying, "Stop! Enough already! We're dying over here." um, but
Literally.
man, that's so good. And you know what? My number one side dish to get voted off is cranberry mold. I hate.
Oh, yeah, I don't eat
I
that
just
either.
don't like the sweet with my turkey anyway. I'd rather go all savory, except for the sweet potatoes and the marshmallow. That's where I get my sweet from. So you could kick the cranberries to the curb. But yeah, so that's it.
Well, that's why look, and Joanne just said it, look, because we're in this world of fresh, 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 fresh. Green bean casserole is not fresh. None of it. It's all canned this, canned that. The green beans get cooked to crap. So like it's all overcooked. And I get that. And that's why probably a lot of people wouldn't like it. My mom with the little French onion strips on the top with the crunch, like it's just a staple that I really do. I love that. And but Thanksgiving, it's just about overeating. Like I just love it's stuff I won't eat because you eat turkey a lot throughout the year. I
Mm.
never eat turkey, so that's why like Thanksgiving's great for me because we'll pound turkey like it's there. And that's the other thing too. I love leftovers, as you have now learned. Thanksgiving is the leftover holiday. Literally, they
Oh,
created
it's the
sandwiches based
best,
off of.
and that's why I like.
So I eat that out for like a week. Like
That's
I
why I
live for
love
like the
eating
next
the
week.
Thanksgiving meal a little bit earlier. Like we usually sit down by 3 or 4 o'clock,
To eat 'em.
because that way, you go your first round is at the table, and then you're done if you start at 4, you're pretty much done by 5, and then you watch some football. And now it's great because you got 3 football games instead of 2. But by the
Yeah.
time everybody's in that food coma stupor between the wine and the drinks and everything, and then by the time that 8 o'clock rolls around, you're ready for that first leftover turkey sandwich, and you can just bite right on that fresh baked bread. I'm looking through some of the comments. Yeah, there's looks like an Italian family, the Manieris. Joyce Manieri chimes in. She goes, "Sides really aren't for us, since we start our dinner with antipasta, escarole soup, and a plate of macaroni or lasagna. By the time they're ready for turkey,
Mm,
it's just the stuffing, the string beans, the mashed potatoes." So that sounds like a pretty good meal right there. A lot of people are
honestly,
mentioning stuffings, and of course, a good stuffing is essential. And of course, the I love the Louisiana style, which is the where you actually have kind of the oysters mixed in with the
oof,
stuffing, whether it's grilled oysters or just sauteed oysters or baked oysters, but in with the stuffing. One person here says anything cornbread is out the door, doesn't like cornbread. Uh, we don't even do cornbread at our table.
at all, you
No,
don't have any
Michelle
cornbread.
bakes fresh baked loaves of bread using she has a bread maker, and she just kind of buys that mix
Oh
that you
wow.
can find at stores. And she usually buys either
Okay.
it's like kind of a brioche style bread or a sourdough bread that she'll bake. Yeah, so
Interesting. And my mom does homemade, like I said the other day, cornbread with bits of corn in it. And it's
okay.
freaking ridiculous.
So
And she'll
wait,
do
you grew
crescent
up here,
rolls.
but you're Jewish and you're cooking like Southern, like cornbread and mac and cheese. Do
I,
you also have like barbecued ribs? I mean,
yeah.
that's like
I not a Thanksgiving, but I love barbecue ribs. It's actually my favorite food. Yeah, my mom. I told you, my mom wasn't adventurous in the sense that she did spice, but she did do different the nationalities. She tried to spread it out a little bit, and my dad loves
yeah,
Southern, like
I could
collard
tell.
greens,
That
mac
that's
and
that's
cheese, fried chicken. So I grew up with that. Like I love that kind of food. And that's our Thanksgiving's more integrated into
Yeah,
American
that's
South,
what
I
it
guess, over
sounds
the
like,
years.
which I'm a little bit surprised because, the Lubitzes, I would think, it's
Yes, we are
Jewish, but
Jewish.
you're the Florida Jewish, which got that Southern twang going. But, oh, Mike Nicholas on the group says scalloped oysters. That sounds good. Cornbread dressing and potatoes au gratin. So there you go. Look, I
Nice.
love it. There are no wrong answers. Uh, I guess just don't put ketchup on the turkey. All right, you can go ahead. If it
I
makes you
get to see
happy,
that.
do it. Do whatever you want.
I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it, so
um,
that's good.
yeah, at some point, I guess everything is possible. And yeah, that's the other thing. My daughter, besides the ketchup on the hot dogs, Natalia is also one of those. She's gotten into pineapple pizza. I say through gritted teeth. She loves ham and pineapple on
So
her
much.
pizza, and she likes it from Papa
So
John's.
weird.
Ah,
Oh
Ashanda,
my god, it's so
Ashanda.
funny. Shirley loves that. Shirley and her parents. They are so eclectic eaters, and they're very highbrow eaters, and they're very the tapas thing, which my family would be a disaster. They love the tapas and sharing little bites, and it's great because I'm in the middle. I can do both. But they love pineapple pizza, pineapple and ham, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys are weird.
So I don't know where this started, but I was very averse to sweet things with my savory. Like even growing up, and my mom would make noodle kugel. A lot of people would put the golden raisins in it. I would always pick the raisins. There'd be a pile of golden raisins on the side after I was done with my noodle kugel. I just never liked sweet stuff with my savory. So when it comes to the pineapple on the pizza, or even like pineapple, grilled pineapple and pork, and what's those the tacos, the pastor, that has the pork with the little bits of pineapple in it too. Oh
I
yeah,
know. I
yeah,
don't even
that's
know.
one of
I
the
don't know.
like one of the big
Oh, I've
favorite
never heard of
taco flavors now. I guess it's called the tacos al pastor, and
Wow.
they have grilled pine. Now,
I'll try
grilled
it.
pineapple on its own, I happen to like now. I mean,
It's great.
and you
It's
know what?
delicious.
Give me a nice rum, a high quality rum on the rocks, and garnish it with grilled pineapple slices, and I'm a happy drunk boy right there. But when it comes to putting the grilled pineapple on the pork chop or on the pizza, I just say no. And again, that I think is I can't explain it in a way that makes any food sense. It's just sometimes subjective and personal opinion. I just don't like sweet stuff. Now, I tried during the height of the Floridian mango gang days down here, which is like it was the late 80s, early 90s when I first arrived. And the food scene was dominated by these young pioneering chefs like Norm Van Aken and Mark Militello and Doug Rodriguez. And they were basically known for the blending of the Caribbean tropical flavors, including fruits, along and with fresh seafood and fish. So you'd find Chef Alan too. Alan Susser was one of my favorite chefs. Is one of my. He's still going. He just doesn't have Chef Alan's restaurant anymore. But when I would eat there, it was so good. I ate it. It was like fish with mangoes and little bits of also sometimes Scotch bonnets, so you get that sweet heat flavor going. So to me, it that was the first time I cracked the code and said, okay, this makes sense, and I can eat the fruit with my fish. But for some reason, I still am averse to it. But again, it's food is so subjective and personal,
Yeah.
and that's
Yep.
why there really
Yep.
are no wrong answers. It's just something, except if Skyline Chili is a lot of people's wrong answer, but not mine. I love this stuff. Just don't put pineapple on it. Okay. Hey, let's take another break now. We're going to talk about our friends at Visit
Yes, sir.
Lauderdale. Very excited because we're going to be having another edition
Hey.
of Visit Lauderdale Remote Edition tomorrow. Nikki Mohan will be joining us. We got confirmation this morning.
Yay.
She's a very busy woman. She was in Phoenix this week at,
Yes.
I imagine, some sort of tourism convention or meeting, but she's coming back from Phoenix, and she's going to be joining us tomorrow at the Mystic Lobster Roll Company. It's a new restaurant that opened along the 17th Street corridor there in Fort Lauderdale a couple of months ago, and lobster rolls are all the rage these days. So we're going to be checking out some of those good offerings, and they have different variety of lobster rolls there. Lubie, it's not just the basic Maine with a little bit of mayonnaise or the warm butter dunked Connecticut style. But I was talking to the owners there, and she was telling me that they do lobster BLTs and all kinds of different flavors and variants beyond the traditional lobster rolls. So that's going to be fun tomorrow. And it's just all part of the wonderful world of diversity that you find here at Greater Fort Lauderdale, where
Yes.
we welcome everyone under the sun, and that means all you foodies out there. So, culinary explorers, cocktail connoisseurs, craft beer aficionados, come one, come all, and get ready to savor every flavor and every moment From dockside dining with breathtaking views along the water, lively cafes along Los Olas Boulevard, to award winning chefs serving up every cuisine imaginable, a world class dining scene awaits here in Greater Fort Lauderdale. So come stay and play. Tell all your friends, tell all your family. It's going to be Thanksgiving week, and there is no finer place to be in all of these United States because we got the warm weather.
Yes.
We've got the beautiful ocean fronts. We've got great food and drink. So there's so many taste sensations waiting for you here. More than 4,000 area restaurants, and don't forget the thrilling nightlife at all these great craft breweries and the hidden speakeasies, the rooftop bars. Check out the places along the Visit Lauderdale Ale Trail. Some of our favorite small breweries, including Three Sons and the Lauderdale, and of course, the original Funky Buddha up in Oakland Park. It's a never ending culinary celebration in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and everyone's invited. So, for more information about upcoming events, promotions, and deals, go to visitlauderdale.com.
What I like with this time of the year, with all the holidays back to back, it gives you a lot of days off to go and try some new places. And that's what's cool about Fort Lauderdale is you don't have to travel that far to really try diverse tastes. So that's really cool that you, Nikki, have really opened my eyes to where we were going within a 20-mile radius and we're trying things that were so vastly different. Like this next 2-3 weeks, you're going to be eating your ham and your turkey and your stuffing, but it gives you time to go out there and try some other
Plenty
stuff.
of stuff out there. It's a lot of new places, especially seems to be the grilled meats, the kind of the Brazilian steakhouse, the Rodizio. Those seem
Yeah,
to be all the
popping
rage
up
too,
everywhere.
and in and around Fort Lauderdale. That Fago de Chao just opened on Las Olas, and a
That's good
place
stuff.
called, I think it's Lasso Gaucho, opened on Sunrise Boulevard. I've got to hit one of those two spots, or maybe both, in the next couple of weeks, because falling a little bit behind on checking out some of the new places in Lauderdale. Been so busy eating my face off with Dickstein up in Delray Beach, but nothing wrong with that either. All right, we'll be back after these words on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. People come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans. For 30 years, they've been doing a great job. The original location, West Side, 3303 Sheridan Street, just across from TY Park in Hollywood. And there's the East Side location, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. You go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the blackened grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late in both locations. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent. You like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, Even Keel Fish Shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. And we're back on the Lunchbox. We got good flow today. It's always a beautiful day when it's almost the end of the week. It's almost the end of the year. The holidays are upon us. I'm
Yes,
feeling good.
sir.
How about you, Lubie?
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. So, wanted to also talk a little bit about. Looks like Sarni is chiming in. He's trying to get me to grade the Thanksgiving
I
football
graded
game
it. You don't need
matches.
to grade it. I mean,
Yeah, come on, Sarni. Well,
well,
Bills Lions.
because
Okay,
the problem is you have to have the Cowboys and the Lions, which that's so. If we're gonna ever gripe about that, I
tradition.
know Joanne hates sports. We won't break down sports. We won't talk about the spread or the zone read. Okay,
No.
Joanne, we won't get into the little minutiae of sports. I promise. But what I will say is. And it's why no one cares. I don't even care about the football.
I'm going to start singing Fiddler on the Roof. Tradition,
Yeah.
tradition,
I just-
because that's why the Cowboys and the Lions have to
sucks.
play on Thanksgiving.
The games usually both of
Cowboys
them are bad,
half
or one of
decent.
them's bad, and it makes the games
Look,
garbage.
the Bills are an exciting team, so against the Lions, let's grade that one a B minus. It's not the
I said
greatest
C.
matchup,
I said C.
but at least but you get to watch Josh Allen and Giants Cowboys classic rivalry. I
That's
give
a good
that one an
game.
A. That's going to be
Sure,
an
that's
A
a good
game
game,
right
and I
there.
said A.
That's for the division title supremacy there.
Yes.
And Patriots Vikings. Look, the Patriots. You can't ever count them out, even though you think they're not having a good.
Vikings are good.
They're down year. Vikings are good, but that game is a solid B. So it's not terrible football. Okay, I don't know why I listen to my Svengali, but he is correct that the World Cup is starting this Sunday, and it is a big deal. And we were talking with Pat Utter yesterday, who acknowledged that in South Florida there is a huge contingent of football, not American football, the real international football, soccer, which starts its quadrennial. Is that the right word? Every 4 years, like the Olympics.
Yeah. You're the one that went to study at Cambridge.
I went to Tufts. I went to Tufts
Yeah,
in
didn't
the
you study
London
at
School.
Cambridge? Wasn't that the whole
London
thing?
School of Economics and Political
Sorry.
Science, but who's
Exactly?
not me. But the quadrennial, once every 4 years, the World Cup comes along. For some reason, they're playing it in the middle of a desert in all these domed stadiums because it's too damn hot to stay outdoors. But 32 teams from around the globe. One of them not there is Italy, which is shocking because they're one of the traditional powers, and they didn't make it through in the qualifying. But 32 teams in all these different groups, and Sarni wants me to come up with restaurants for each particular team and where to watch it in Broward, which you can do because I think there's almost every country represented in Broward somewhere. Although Senegal, maybe not so much, a little bit of a paucity in terms of West African restaurants around. But we're going to be going, hopefully, to preview the next Friday, Black Friday. We're going to be live, and we're going to be broadcasting from somewhere, Lubie, in advance of the U.S.-England game.
Yes.
That's going to be a big I guess you call it a Revolutionary War rematch there. But,
There you go. There you go.
And I don't know, I might try to find a British pub. But if worse comes to worse, we're American. We could find kind of an American place, like a good buddy, the professor Ken at the Foundry. And
Foundry, nothing more American than a Foundry.
I think we might be at the Foundry because we're American. Who cares about the Brits? We're rooting against the Brits on that Friday. So, and let me just go over. Before I'm going to put a post up on Let's Eat to try to break down where every country's teams could and should be watching the games, because I know there's some great Brazilian places up in Pompano Beach where I've seen in past World Cups, and it's always a lively crowd, usually half naked, partying and wrapping Brazilian flags, which is always good. But um, so no, we've got a busy schedule. We're going to be doing a bunch of remotes in the next few
I'm
weeks
ready.
because we're getting in the holiday spirit tomorrow. Again, Mystic Lobster Roll Company on 17th Street in Fort Lauderdale. Next Tuesday, we're confirmed at Grandpa's
Oh, we
Cafe
are.
and Bagel
Nice.
Bakery. Heard from
That's
Mark
good.
Freed, one of the Bagel Boys. I texted him a very weird story from our old stomping grounds in Canarsie, Brooklyn. There was the headline of a local community paper was "Man Found Dead in Freezer at Canarsie Bagel Shop." So it was a very bizarre story. And Mark Freed at Grandpa started off baking bagels in Canarsie, but not at this particular shop. So I don't know what happened, but if it was an accident where the cooler, I think, had one of those self-locking latches where you can't get out.
Oh,
Not a, not,
jeez.
not a good way to go. But all right, Grandpa's next Tuesday, the 22nd. I'm trying to get into even keel at some point, either next week or the following week. Same
Okay.
thing. But next Friday, it looks like let's do the Foundry. So we're
Okay.
gonna,
Depending today.
and then of course, oh, not of course, but new on the schedule, early December on December 7th. I don't know if you remember our friends from NOLA Creations, the food truck that was competing at the
Yeah, from the
truck marketplace.
Strunk Marketplace. That place, that thing was great.
Well, Chef Daryl and his wife Anna, there's some news there. They sold the food truck. They are no longer operating the NOLA Creations food truck, but and actually the person who bought the truck is up in Jacksonville, and I don't know if they kept the same concept or doing something else. But the good news is Daryl, the reason they sold the truck is because he's partnered up and he's involved as chef and co-owner of a new restaurant that's opening up next week in Boca Raton called the Hen and the Hog. Now,
Nice.
the second location, because I think there's a location in Pompano Beach that is already open. I think it's kind of a southern style breakfast and lunch joint. But the Boca Raton location of Hen and the Hog is scheduled to open on Monday, the 21st. And he called up and said, "Hey, come on in and do a show here." And I say, "Hey, I'm there. If you're going to cook some food for us, we'll be there with bells on." So that's going to be December 7th. So we got the full lineup going here. It's going to be a busy holiday month. Going to be adding in some other things. And I can't forget, uh, December 9th is first of our
Super stuff.
Gulfstream Park Fridays. Every Friday during the prime racing season will be at Gulfstream Park. I don't know where they're going to stick us, if it's going to be right overlooking the paddock and walking ring, or they might stick us in a
We were
far
always in the
corner.
breezeway. We were in the breezeway for
Yeah.
years. I'm really excited to be back at Gulfstream Park. We always had
It's
a
going
lot
to
of
be
fun.
fun. So that's going to do it for today. No matter what you're doing out there, enjoy yourself, stay safe, be well. And for Mike Lubie Lubitz and Defo, he's coming back tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to be part of the show
I
because
don't
he's
know
going to
what's
be
happening
tired.
because we're on remote. He was supposed to be with us, and I know he'll be on
Right.
in the morning. I don't know with the remote situation.
Well,
I'll
if Necky is going to be on hand, then we could give we'll make it a full week holiday for Defo. Why not? He deserves it. He's 71. Let him live a little bit,
Sure.
and hopefully he has some money left.
His
So
life's been a holiday for
that's
like
it.
40 years.
Oh, you know what? I didn't say good words about Tropical Acres before we
Yes.
go. I got to say Tropical Acres Steakhouse, our friends there. That is the place to go if you're looking for a great holiday meal.
Yeah.
Although they're fully booked for Thanksgiving, they got plenty of availability for Christmas Day. So get on the books there. Give them a call at Tropical Acres Steakhouse. I wish I had the number in front of me. Let me see. I think it's
Find it.
954
Do we
29.
don't have it memorized, huh?
Wait, I got it. Here we go. 989-2500. 954-989-2500 is Tropical Acres reservation line. They're booked for Thanksgiving, but get in there this weekend and have a holiday meal a little bit early. They've got great steaks and they have the twin lobster special final days. I think the last $35 for the twin main lobsters with salad inside. The last day for the $35 deal is tomorrow, but I think they still might have a couple of lobsters left over the weekend. A little bit of a higher price, but it's still a great value. Don't forget they have happy hour in the bar, 4:30 to 6:30. They have the early bird from the first hour. They have the butcher shop open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And they have the loyalty reward card, half price wine on Monday and Tuesday. So many great things, great hospitality from the Studi Alley family. Go to Tropical Acres, 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. All right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can have everybody go off on their merry ways. And I say goodbye. Thanks for tuning in. And remember to enjoy every sandwich.